I'm going to tell you something that sounds like it works against my own work, my craft. The modality I practice is called FBR, Facilitated Breath Repatterning. And breath work, the actual breathing part, a form of conscious connected breathing, makes up only 20% of what FBR actually is. 20%. The other 80% is invisible. It's happening in the space between you and the other person holding the session. It's whether they can actually track what your nervous system is doing moment to moment and meet it. And almost nobody talks about that 80% because you can't put it on a poster. Yeah, but it's the entire difference between a session that rearranges something deep in you and a session where you just breathed hard on a mat for an hour. So let me talk about that 80% because this is where the nectar lives and it's important. Because if you've ever wondered why one breathwork experience changed your life and another did nothing, this is why. And if you're choosing who to do this work with, this is the thing to listen for. And if you're someone who's been drawn to this work as something you might receive yourself or something you feel called to facilitate as a practitioner, and you've sensed there's more to it than the protocol, the instructing of a breath technique, that the technique alone doesn't explain the practitioners who are extraordinary at it. This is for you. And if you've done breath work before and walked away thinking, that was a lot of breathing, but I'm not sure what happened, stay with me because what was probably missing wasn't your effort, it was the 80%. And here's what the 80% actually is it's the practitioner's capacity to track your nervous system in real time, not to run you through another breath sequence, but to read you breath by breath by breath and respond to what's actually happening rather than what's supposed to happen. Yeah, the closest image I have for this is two dolphins swimming, or maybe two birds through the sky alongside each other. They're in constant communication. What's allowed? Yeah, which direction we're going, the encouragement, passing back and forth, the subtle signals about when to go deeper and when to ease. It's not one leading and one following. It's a dance between the two, a moment by moment dialogue between two nervous systems. That's what facilitation actually is when it's done at depth. And breath work is just the water you're both swimming in or the sky for the birds. And reading you is real, trainable literacy, nervous system literacy. This is attunement. It's reading what the eyes can and can't see, the way the body is moving, and just as importantly, the way that the body isn't moving or where the breath is wanting to move and isn't, where it's gone still, where it's bracing. It's reading what the hands can feel. It's reading what the ears can hear in the quality of the breath, not the volume, but the texture. All of that paints a picture of where your system actually is in this moment. The practitioner reads that picture, responds to it with their facilitation, and then does the hardest part, wipes the slate clean and reads it again, fresh, beginner's mind, because you're somewhere new now. Read, respond, clear, read again, over and over again for the length of the session. That's constant rereading the work. That's the 80%. And here's why this is genuinely no small feat or task to facilitate such a process and why so few, unfortunately, are trained to do it well. You cannot read or hold a state in someone else that you can't hold in yourself. Yeah. If a wave of grief or rage or huge emotion comes up in the person breathing and it tips the practitioner off their own center, the dance is over. Yeah. Now there are two dysregulated nervous systems in the room. We can recover. However, the real capacity is double. First, the practitioner has to be able to hold a wide range of states within themselves to stay settled and present while big things move through the system in front of them. And only then can they hold that range for someone else and read it cleanly without flinching from it. Yeah. That's why this is the deepest form of the work. It's not nervous system informed as a slogan and branding. It's nervous system literate as a lived skill, earned in the practitioner's own body first. This is the thing that made me fall in love with FBR breathwork. I came from physiotherapy, a master's degree, years embedded in science, in the body as a system you can understand and read. And I had also explored the full spectrum of the spiritual side of this work, for a long time. Those felt like two completely different worlds. And most modalities make you choose one. FBR didn't. The FBR technique holds space for both the rigor of actual reading of a nervous system and the depth of what happens when you do that. Science and spirit in the same room, not at war or at odds with one another. And here's what still moves me. Every FBR practitioner carries this capacity, this competency, not because of whatever they did before they arrived, not because they were a therapist or a body worker or anything else, but because of the way the training itself is approached. In person only, the training builds the nervous system literacy in it. It builds the practitioner's own range so that they can hold yours. And it stays alive because of how we keep working as a team. FBR keeps evolving. It's a living modality, living technique, not something trapped by the four edges of a page in a book that we call a manual. Yeah, beautiful, useful, but it's super limited. It breathes. It keeps growing as the people practicing it grow and evolve. And so here's what I want you to take from this. If you're choosing someone to do this work with, listen past the technique. Anyone can instruct a breath sequence. The question is, can this person track you? Can they hold their own center while something enormous moves through you? Yeah. Can they read what your body is saying and meet it instead of running you through a script? Yeah, that's what you're actually looking for. That's what you're actually paying for, the 80%. And if you're someone who feels called to facilitate, this is the craft. It's not about the protocol. The capacity to hold range in yourself and read it in another and stay in the dance moment by moment, it can be trained. Yet being a practitioner of this work is not for everyone. It's the most worthwhile thing I've ever learned to do. And this is exactly why the retreats and one-to-one work are built the way they are. A retreat becomes a kind of a recalibration chamber. Yeah, not because of the breathing alone, but because there's the space and the practitioner capacity for that 80% to actually happen, to unfold. For someone to track you across days, not minutes, and meet what arises as it arises. And the one-to-one work is where that dance gets really fine-grained over time, where your system is read and met again and again until a new baseline can form and hold. The breath opens the door. The tracking, the dance is what does the work once you're through it. That's not an add-on to the sessions. It is the session itself. And so I'll be putting out more on this, what nervous system literacy actually looks like up close, how a practitioner builds range in themselves, and why the living, evolving nature of FBR matters so much. If that's useful, subscribe and you'll get them as they come through. Thanks for watching. Remember, I'm here for it all. See you in the next one.